In the world of junior golf, talent is everywhere, but it's rare for one name to rise unmistakably above the rest. Miles Russell was that name. The reigning AJA Player of the Year, he earned his reputation not through hype but through relentless consistency. He didn't just dominate now and then, he did it again and again, week after week, tournament after tournament. If there was one player who commanded the field with both skill and mental toughness, it was Miles. He wasn't a rising star, he was the gold standard. Within the junior golf circuit, his presence at the AJA Team TaylorMade Invitational came as no surprise. This was his type of event, not one he joined to participate, but one he was expected to win. His name topped every analyst's list. Scouts watched him closely, and competitors respected him. He knew the courses, he knew the pressure, and most importantly, he knew what it meant to win at this level. In a field full of rising talent, Miles brought something no one else did: proven success. Media outlets like Golf Monthly, NBC Sports, and Reuters all acknowledged the tournament's deep competition, but Miles Russell stood apart, not just as a top contender, but as the benchmark. The question wasn't whether he'd perform, it was whether anyone could keep up. His swing was fluid, his rhythm ice cold, his focus unbreakable. For everyone on that tee box, this was Miles Russell's domain. But tournaments aren't won on reputation alone. And in a game where each hole tells its own story, sometimes an unfamiliar name arrives ready to write their own. You can be the favorite, you can have the experience, you can even be the best. But sometimes, the biggest surprises don't come from the top, they come from the ones no one saw coming. There were no cameras on him during warm-ups, no pre-tournament interviews, no buzz from analysts. Charlie Woods entered the Team TaylorMade Invitational, ranked 606th in the AJGA standings, not a dark horse, not a headline, just another name on the tee sheet. His registration barely made a ripple. No expectations, no noise. And that's exactly how surprises begin. Quietly. Charlie had competed at this level before, but never on a stage like this. In 5 AJGA events, he had just one top 25 finisher, respectable but not the kind of result that draws headlines. And every shot he took came with the weight of impossible comparisons, not to other juniors, but to his last name. Because when your name is Woods, you don't get to start from zero. He played his opening holes with the calm of someone who had nothing to prove on everything. No flashy moves, no dramatic reactions, just steady, composed golf, hole after hole. While others warmed up under the spotlight of expectation, Charlie emerged quietly from the shadow of silence. His name wasn't on any watch list, but every par, every birdie, added something new. Wait, not the weight of fame, but of growing focus. When he posted a 70 in the opening round, a few heads turned. When he followed it with a 65 on day 2, no one looked away. This wasn't luck, this wasn't a streak. It was rhythm, it was composure. It was a plan, one that had been forming long before the tournament began. The son of a legend had begun doing something no one expected, writing a story of his own. And the ink wasn't drying slowly. Stories like this aren't born in the spotlight, they rise from the margins. Every tournament begins with rankings, but it ends with impressions. And on day 2 of the Team TaylorMade Invitational, Charlie Woods proved he wasn't just a name on the leaderboard. His 65 wasn't a fluke, it was a statement. 8 birdies, precision off the tee, irons landing with mechanical accuracy. No showboating, no theatrics, just pure craftsmanship. In a field full of promise, Charlie Woods wasn't just competing, he was setting the tone. What stood out wasn't just the numbers, it was his demeanor. He wasn't tense, he wasn't riding the highs or lows, he was locked in. While others in his group sped up or slowed down after mistakes, Charlie stayed in rhythm. No visible frustration on bad bounces. No fist pumps after birdies. The pressure was real, but he never flinched. He didn't move like this was the biggest moment of his young career. He moved like it was the most natural. Meanwhile, Miles Russell continued to perform exactly as expected. Flawless, composed, consistent, the kind of play you'd expect from the #1 junior in the game. But something shifted. The buzz wasn't just about Russell's command anymore, it was about Charlie's rise. Hole by hole, the attention tilted. Media outlets began updating their headlines. Coaches started refreshing live leaderboards more often. Players in the clubhouse quietly reevaluated their potential Sunday pairings. Because when an unknown starts rising, the question isn't why, it's when will it stop. For the first time all week, the name Charlie Woods didn't sound like a footnote, it sounded like a threat. And people weren't watching because of his last name, they were watching because of his score, his calm, and his control. By the end of day 2, the whispers had turned into watch lists, and on Sunday, Charlie Woods didn't just finish strong, he delivered a statement. A final round 66. 8 birdies, no double bogeys. Barely a single misstep. Everything clicked, not because of luck, but because of method. While others tensed under Sunday pressure, Charlie shifted into another gear. His game didn't tighten, it sharpened. And in a tournament full of noise, suddenly, he became the only sound. The numbers told a story, but the difference wasn't just in the scorecard. It was in the way he played. And for the first time, the spotlight began to move away from Miles Russell, not because he faltered, but because someone else had arrived. Charlie Woods finished strong 8 under on the final day, closing out the tournament at 15 under par. Overall, it wasn't close. It wasn't lucky. It was convincing, a 3-shot victory over what many called the strongest field of the AJGA season. According to Reuters, it wasn't just a win. It was a statement. Not a flash, not a fluke, a warning. What Charlie delivered that day wasn't a miracle. Round it was complete control. Every shot looked intentional, rehearsed. No risky heroics. No hesitant layups, just cold, clean execution. Golf Digest wrote, Charlie played like a veteran. And maybe that was the most surprising part, not that he won, but how he won. He didn't play like someone trying to prove something. He played like someone confirming what he already knew. When the final putt dropped and the score became official, the course didn't go quiet out of chakut, went quiet out of realization. This wasn't just a kid playing great golf. This was a player arriving with purpose. And just like that, the one in the shadows stepped into the spotlight. The score was final, but the real impact was just beginning. Within hours of his victory at the Team TaylorMade Invitational, the golf world lit up. Sports Illustrated, the New York Post, Golf Digest. They weren't writing about Tiger's son anymore. They were writing about Charlie, the competitor, the breakout, the threat. The tone shifted immediately. He was no longer just a name with expectations. He was now a name you game plan around. On social media, swing clips circulated with captions that read composure, maturity, precision, not potential, not promise. These were words usually reserved for college stars and future tours pros. According to Golf Monthly, several NCAA programs were already asking how they'd missed him on their radar. Charlie's reputation didn't grow, it exploded. Fans responded just as fast. The conversation shifted from cool to see him out there, to how far can this kid really go? His final round was shared, slowed down, studied frame by frame, not to compare him to his father, but to understand him. The tempo, the calm, the confidence. This wasn't a son coasting on legacy. This was a young player demanding attention on his own merit. And that conversation didn't end at the 18th green. What was once viewed as inheritance was now seen as a threat. He had played well, but more than that, Charlie Woods had started something, a story of his own. And suddenly, everyone was watching. He wasn't just a weekend surprise anymore. He had become a name players would now prepare for. This wasn't hype, it was happening. Some wins fade by Monday. This one didn't. Just days after his victory at the Team TaylorMade Invitational, Charlie made a leap no one saw coming. According to Reuters, he vaulted from 606th to 14th in the AJGA rankings. One win, one performance, and the entire junior golf landscape shifted, not just because of what he did, but because of what it meant. With his new ranking, Charlie earned automatic entry into the Junior Players Championship at TPC Battleground, where junior elites meet future professionals. The same hallowed fairways where his father made history are now his to walk. But this time, it's not about legacy. Not about shadows. It's about what he's just started. The name that once showed up as a footnote on the bag tag now stands alone on the leaderboard. At first, critics called it a flash, a one-time surge, a hot weekend. But the numbers told another story: 3 rounds under par, a poised and clinical finish. Nothing about it felt like luck. This wasn't magic. This was method, technical, composed, deliberate. And if you can deliver that kind of performance at 15, it's not a peak, it's a beginning. What was supposed to be another coronation of Miles Russell's dominance ended with something far bigger. A shift in power. There's no longer a clear king in junior golf. The hierarchy is open. The balance has tipped. And standing at the top of this new order is a name no one can afford to ignore. And just like that, the question changed from can he hang to can anyone stop him?